Biden heading to Brussels for NATO meeting, 2 Fox News journalists killed in Ukraine. U.S. President Joe Biden plans to travel to Brussels next week to meet with NATO allies about bolstering support for Ukraine as it fights to fend off Russia's unprovoked attack. The extraordinary summit on March 24 will bring together North American and European leaders to discuss further strengthening NATO's deterrence and defense, NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg said. The alliance is expected to call on its military commanders Wednesday to send more troops and missile defenses to Eastern Europe, Reuters reported. Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky is also scheduled to address U.S. lawmakers Wednesday morning. Russia military struggling to conduct operations as losses mount. Russia is transferring troops to Ukraine from as far away as its Pacific Fleet and is recruiting more mercenaries as it tries to replace lost personnel, according to an assessment from the UK Defense Ministry. As a result of these losses, it is likely Russia is struggling to conduct offensive operations in the face of sustained Ukrainian resistance, the ministry said. Continued personnel losses will also make it difficult for Russia to secure occupied territory. Russia's foreign ministry did not immediately respond to a request for comment. It is unclear how many Russian soldiers have been killed in Ukraine since the invasion began in late February. Ukraine officials said over the weekend that Ukraine has lost 1,300 soldiers. Moscow is redeploying troops from as far away as Armenia, its eastern military district, and the Russian Pacific Fleet, the ministry said. The Pacific Fleet is based in Vladivostok, Russia. By air, Vladivostok is more than 4,400 miles, 7,100 kilometers, from Kiev. The UK Defense Ministry said Russia is seeking mercenaries from Syria and private military companies, the term used to describe Russia-based firms that hire out armed fighters. Moscow will likely use those mercenaries to hold seized Ukrainian territory so it can shift more of its regular troops to fight Ukrainian forces and renew stalled offensive operations, the UK ministry said. Russian corporate fighters have been accused of committing human rights abuses in Syria, Libya, and the Central African Republic while working on behalf of Moscow. Such mercenary services already operated in eastern Ukraine prior to Russia's current invasion, according to the U.S. government. In 2017, the U.S. Treasury placed sanctions on the biggest Russian mercenary company, PMC Wagner, and its founder, Dmitry Utkin, for actions or policies that threaten the peace, security, stability, sovereignty, or territorial integrity of Ukraine. The Washington-based Center for Strategic and International Studies said last year that Moscow provided security and military services through private mercenary companies to the government of the Central African Republic in exchange for the right to extract gold, uranium, and diamonds. NATO is set to tell its military commanders on Wednesday to draw up plans for new ways to deter Russia. Over a week before Allied leaders, including U.S. President Joe Biden, gather in Brussels on March 24. Ministers will also hear from their Ukrainian counterpart Oleksiy Reznikov, who is expected to plead for more weapons from individual NATO countries, as Russian attacks on Ukraine's cities continue and the Russian military seeks control of Kiev. We need to reset our military posture for this new reality, NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg said earlier Tuesday. Ministers will start an important discussion on concrete measures to reinforce our security for the longer term, in all domains, he told reporters.